So today we are going to study the function of hormones in male reproductive system. In my previous videos, I have already finished the different parts of male reproductive system along with their function. So today we are going to see the function or the role played by the hormones in reproductive system of human. As you all know that the supreme commander of endocrine system, that is hypothalamus, which is formed at the base of the brain. So this is the hypothalamus. This part of the brain is the supreme commander of endocrine system. So once the human reaches its puberty stage, you can say, this hypothalamus produces gonadotropin releasing hormones. In short, you can write GnRH. This gonadotropin releasing hormone stimulates or activates the anterior part of master gland, that is pituitary gland. Once gonadotropin releasing hormone is released from hypothalamus, this GnRH activates the anterior part of pituitary gland, which is also known as master gland. Anterior pituitary gland, which is also known as master gland. So here you can see, first the hypothalamus releases the hormone, gonadotropin releasing hormone. It activates or stimulates the anterior part of master gland, that is anterior pituitary gland, to release the tropin hormone. After anterior part of the pituitary gland gets activated, they release tropin hormone, which are of two types. Number one, follicle stimulating hormones, or in short form you can write FSH. And another one is luteinizing hormone, you can write LH in short form. The mechanism which we have learned here, that is hypothalamus, anterior pituitary gland, is same in both male and female. But today we are going to concentrate only in male reproductive system. So once again I would like to repeat, once the human reaches its puberty stage, the hypothalamus produces GnRH, gonadotropin releasing hormone, which activates the anterior part of pituitary gland. After getting activation, this anterior pituitary gland produces two kinds of hormone, that is tropin hormone. Number one, follicle stimulating hormone and luteinizing hormone. This follicle stimulating hormone targets the supporting cells which is found in testes, that is Sertoli cells. Say for example, this is your testis section. of your testes. It consists of three main cells, which we have already learned. Number one, seminiferous tubules. This is seminiferous tubules which produces sperm, and the supporting cells which supplies nutrients to the sperm. This is Sertoli cells. Sertoli cells. So in between the seminiferous tubules and Sertoli cells, the space in between, you can say it is interstitial cell space. In that space you will find another important cells, that is Leydig cells. These three are the important cells which is formed in the human testis. So, number one, seminiferous tubules, supporting cells, Sertoli cells, and another, the cells which are formed in the space, that is Leydig cells. So in case of male human, you will find that the FSH, follicle stimulating hormone, this anterior pituitary gland which produces two hormones, that is follicle stimulating hormone and luteinizing hormone. This follicle stimulating hormone stimulates the Sertoli cells of testes, and this luteinizing hormone stimulates the Leydig cells. Sertoli cells, this cells produces androgen, male hormone, binding protein. Once the Sertoli cells gets activated, it produces androgen binding protein. In short form, you can write ABP. Leydig cells, this cells produces the male hormone, that is testosterone. This testosterone and androgen binding hormone binds together and they enters into the seminiferous tubules for spermatogenesis. Means production of sperm, production and maturation of sperm. Once again, I would like to repeat, hypothalamus produces GnRH, which activates the pituitary gland, anterior part of pituitary gland. Anterior part of the pituitary gland then produces two types of hormone, that is follicle stimulating hormone and is luteinizing hormone. Follicle stimulating hormone targeted cells are Sertoli cells, that is in testis, and luteinizing hormone stimulates the Leydig cells of testis. Sertoli cells produces androgen binding protein ABP, and Leydig cells produces male hormone, that is testosterone. This two, androgen binding protein and testosterone, gets bind together and they enters into the seminiferous tubules for spermatogenesis. Spermatogenesis means production of sperm. So here you can see clearly that how the hormones regulates our reproductive system. So I'd like to repeat again that the role played by the brain and different hormones. Let's say hypothalamus, supreme commander of endocrine system, produces gonadotropin releasing hormone. This hormone activates anterior part of pituitary gland, which produces two types of tropin hormone. Number one, FSH and another one is luteinizing hormone. FSH stimulates the Sertoli cells of testes and LH stimulates the Leydig cells of testes. Sertoli cells produces androgen binding protein and Leydig cells produce testosterone. testosterone. This androgen binding protein and testosterone gets combined and they induce into semiferous tubules for spermatogenesis. So this is the flow chart which makes you all more easier to study. So anyway, you can see the function of hormones, different hormones in male reproductive system. Apart from the regulation of spermatogenesis, this Sertoli cells and Leydig cells also produces the inhibin hormone, which deactivates the function of hypothalamus and anterior pituitary gland. Means that they delay, or you can say deactivate, the function of pituitary gland or hypothalamus. Means that they produce inhibin hormones. This Sertoli cells produces inhibin hormones which affects both hypothalamus and anterior pituitary gland. Leydig cells also produces inhibin hormone which deactivates the function of only anterior pituitary gland. Means that during the time of spermatogenesis, the production of GnRH, FSH and LH has to be stopped or delayed. So, as soon as the spermatogenesis starts, this Sertoli cells and Leydig cells produces inhibin hormone which deactivates the function of hypothalamus and anterior pituitary gland. So today we have learned the functions of different kinds of hormones in male reproductive system. In my next class, I'll start from spermatogenesis.